gonna do? Huh? How do you get out? How are you gonna get out? Hi! What a new day! Okay, it's been a while. I feel like I've gotten a little bit rusty about this. We've all experienced a bunch of things with the pandemic and personal stuff. The pandemic is definitely going on longer than we initially thought or hoped. But such is life about a lot of things. So here goes. One of my top subjects is how childbirth is represented in the entertainment industry and now also social media. My family is going to be so pleased that they don't have to watch this. It's now your turn to experience my reaction to watching birth scenes. Here's the problem. The United States has had a visual representation of birth for a long time. There's old images of childbirth throughout history, whether that was a recreation of a monarch giving birth or new techniques or typical practices during labor, because for the longest time, as you may have seen in my previous video about a very brief history of childbirth in America, midwives managed labor for a long time, and obstetrics has managed labor a very short amount of time when it comes to the entire history of childbirth. It's only a new science. Since some of the links to some of the videos that I'm going to play and react to are broken, I'm just going to post them here. But feel free to enjoy all of the shows that are referenced here. I have no beef with these shows. I just have a beef with the entertainment industry as a whole. Even beyond childbirth, I have a problem with the fact that there's this idea that drama has to be created. For some reason, real life can't be comedic or dramatic enough all on its own. I bet many of us have said, if my life could be turned into a book, right? There's plenty of comedy and drama in real life. Therefore, we wouldn't try and find a way to recreate it, and we certainly wouldn't be able to laugh with each other about it because it's a shared common experience. And the same is true with childbirth. Here's an even bigger beef that I have about this issue. I have talked to women in person, and I have seen in research that the way that childbirth is presented in the entertainment industry and social media, for instance, there is now episodic story apps where you have some control about how the story goes, make choices to change the scenes. Even in those apps, in those stories, childbirth is so dramatic or over the top, at the least, as far as what midwives and doulas can personally attest. Now, granted, there are some unusual circumstances to a very small amount of births. But the problem is, the bigger beef that I've got about this issue is that in talking to women in person and looking at research, these representations change birthing people's decisions about their reproductive future. They're scared about things that don't typically actually even happen, like the amount of pain. Now, granted, the pain of childbirth has been part of reproductive life for thousands of years. There's just this assumption that it's going to be intensely awful, and it doesn't have to be. I'll get into that in a video in the future about the physiology of natural childbirth and why it works well. Hoping to do something interesting with that video that I'm starting to work on. I'm going to show you some video clips and tell you my reaction to them. So here we go.
Ooh. What is that? Something exploded.
It's just a water breaking. Calm down, will you?
Water breaking? What do you mean? What's that? Water breaking?
Breathe, breathe, breathe.
In a not so, well, it's been a few months, so in a previous video a little while ago, a video about the impact of words that are used in the childbirth industry. Here's one of my top pet peeves about that. Water isn't breakable. A water bag is breakable, an amniotic sac is breakable, but water itself doesn't break. I've seen it boil, I've seen it freeze, I've seen it run, I've seen it drip, but I haven't seen it break. If you freeze it, then you can break it, but that's not what we're talking about. So that's my beef right there. It's not real. Water doesn't break. Here's video number 1 from a scene in the TV show called Friends.
Shut up. You know, it's a rebuilding year. Whoa!
Let me get the father. Hey, we need a father over here. We need a father.
There's no father.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm fine.
Okay, all right, right this way. All the other pregnant women seem to be going in here.
Here's video number 2 in a scene from one of my favorite TV shows that is sadly gone way too soon, called Firefly. It's a cowboy story set in space.
Burn us out, save us sweat and bullets. Andy, what's the water supply like here?
Underground well. Pump that draws it up's antiquated, but it don't break down.
Kaylee, think you could swing an upgrade for their waterworks?
I'll talk to Serenity, see what she's got we might use.
Good. We might want to scrounge up.
Starting.
Yeah, that it is, but time is on the enemy's side.
Don't you tan?
Oh, it's starting. Okay, it's starting. All right, yeah. Everybody relax, be calm. Nobody panic, it's gonna be okay. It'll be all right.
I got this one, Captain.
Thanks. Okay then. Let's get to work, people.
Okay, here's my pet peeve with this video, and it's happened in so many visual representations of childbirth. The first contraction doesn't start that way. Usually the first contraction starts, here's exactly why women question whether or not labor has started. Because the uterus has been exercising in some form for days, weeks, maybe even months. I can personally attest in my last birth, I had this experience since first trimester, late first trimester. So trying to differentiate between those contractions and labor contractions is a frustrating experience for a pregnant person. And so for a labor to go from, in order for a labor, so if that doesn't happen. Contractions build. They start from nothing and they end in nothing. They don't jump. Now, there can be, and especially for late labor, there can be a pretty dramatic acceleration to the top of this curve, is the way contractions are visually documented, is in this kind of shape. And that's quite a bit. What it feels like is a gigantic exclamation point. There can be a pretty intense build, but it doesn't go from calm to wham. Contractions don't happen that way, especially as it's experienced. It can look a little bit more instant to those that are around a person in labor, but it's still not that instant. So, video number 3 from the Netflix comedy show Grace and Frankie.
Hey, Mal, you gonna eat?
No, and neither are you. My water just broke. I think we have to go to the hospital.
What? Oh my God. Okay. Easy, love. Easy. Here, I got you. Just a little.
How?
Okay. Let it out.
Oh, it's happening!
Grace! Martin, where have you been?
Oh, Grace, it's happening. It's happening. Baby.
She's in labor?
You gotta get to the hospital.
Here, you talk to him.
What am I gonna say?
Get me tops that squirt or get me my money back. Can be mean.
Oh, fun. Listen up, you little piece of shit.
Okay, we're getting her to the hospital. Just breathe.
It wasn't Braxton Hicks.
Mitch, Robert and I will follow you in our car.
But he's stoned.
That's my
That was
bad.
3 hours ago. I'm fine now. Just call the hospital and tell them we're coming.
Oh, you better have an epidural in the car.
You're doing great, honey. One step at a time.
She's coming, she's coming!
Oh, God.
No.
What can I do?
Oh, I can feel it, she's...
No, don't push. Do not push. Man, do something. I'm telling you not to push.
Oh my god, I think she's in my pants.
What?
Oh my
She's in
god!
your pants. Okay, I got her.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Perfect.
Okay. Oh my god. Why? Why? I literally clocked it. This is a 2-minute labor. If anybody's experienced a 2-minute labor, please comment down below. A physical, actual childbirth labor, when a baby comes out, on top of the fact that this is a contraction that started and never stopped until the baby came out. That can happen within a contraction, but the beginning of labor to the baby completely out, that doesn't happen. Now, I will explain this phenomenon. There are a lot of women who don't somehow cognitively connect with the contractions or the muscle tightening or exercising that happens in the hours or days before labor. I've had women tell me, I had a 40-minute labor. I had a 1-hour labor. Okay, so what I'm understanding is you recognize the sensation of being in labor, and then an hour later the baby was out. But I guarantee you that if there was those, they're called tocometers, the transducer that's strapped to mom's belly to detect the strength of contractions that are happening. If all moms were sent home with a tocometer, let's say at 30 weeks, I guarantee you there would be periodic and sometimes repeated or even frequent cycles or spells of uterine contractions. And that does happen. If anybody has had a documented complete labor that's faster, please let me know in the comments down below. I mean, the person who gave birth making that post, not I heard it. Because that's part of what feeds into this cycle of an unrealistic expectation or not real representation of what childbirth is really like. Is the stories that we tell. And so, next, video number 4 comes again from Friends. And this is the character of Phoebe in labor with triplets.
Push. Now just concentrate on pushing. Yep. Here we go.
I see the head. Yep.
Yes, it has a head. All right. Now that's it. Keep pushing. Come on. I can't believe there's somebody coming out of you right now. There's somebody coming out of you.
So, granted, that looks like a fairly real labor, right? Let me show you one more representation. Now, mind you, this is in musical form. So all of that is going to be totally unrealistic, except that I have seen moms incorporating music into their childbirth experience beyond just playing it in the background. This next video clip from the hit musical series Glee, and the character Quinn, a teenage mom giving birth. So here's my beef about this one, and it's Okay, this is a positive negative reaction. Let's put it that way. Yes, in hospitals, in many, many hospitals, probably almost all hospitals now have a birthing seat, where we're used to the completely flat hospital bed that can adjust in different parts as a third of the bed. With obstetric beds, the head stays in place, but the foot part or the leg part can be taken off. And when that's taken off, if you saw me from the front, there is like a little cutout for underneath mom's butt for that birthing seat. So that does exist, and we don't see that in these two clips. So I will say that. I have seen moms use the birth seat in hospital births under these conditions. My beef is I've seen the same thing in non-hospital beds in childbirth representation in the entertainment industry, where mom is sitting, not laying back. Number one is a problem. I'll get into that in another video. But basically sitting straight up on top of her baby's head. A baby's body cannot come out that way. It just won't. It won't come out. Next one.
Who are you? I'm the husband. I'm sorry, only people involved are allowed in here. Right.
What do I do?
Yes?
What do I do?
Nothing, dear. You're not qualified.
Leave it to us.
What's that for?
That's the machine that goes bing. You see, that means your baby is still alive.
And that's the most expensive machine in the whole hospital.
Yes, it cost over £750,000.
Aren't you lucky?
The administrator is here, Doctor.
Switch everything on. Morning, gentlemen. Morning, gentlemen. Morning. Morning, Mr. Pycroft.
Oh, very impressive, very impressive. And what are you doing this morning?
It's a birth. Ah, what sort of thing is that?
Well, that's when we take a new baby out of a lady's tummy.
Wonderful what we can do nowadays. Ah, I see you have the machine that goes bing. This is my favorite. You see, we lease this back from the company we sold it to, and that way it comes under the monthly current budget and not the capital account.
Oh, yes, there's the head. Yes, 4 centimeters, 5, 6 centimeters.
Lights!
Amplify the ping machine.
Masks up!
Suction.
Eyes down for a full house.
Here it comes. And frightening. Here.
And the rough toes!
Show it to the mother. That's enough.
Right, sedate her,
Number the child.
measure it, blood type it, and isolate it.
Okay, show's over.
A boy or a girl?
Now, I think it's a little early to start imposing roles on it, don't you? Now, a word of advice. You may find that you suffer for some time a totally irrational feeling of depression. PMD, as we doctors call it. So, it's lots of happy pills for you, and you can find out all about the birth when you get home.
Here is my least favorite childbirth scene ever. And this isn't as much about the unrealistic representation of birth itself, but it clearly demonstrates the ideology and the egoism that is way too prevalent, and it sounds like hopefully is decreasing in the field of obstetrics. There are still midwives practicing. Probably everybody in the world knows that now. But midwifery is not obstetrics. We'll get into that in another video. Or you can always check out my TED Talk, which is linked down below. So, I love comedy. I do love comedy. I have to admit, I more enjoy the rom-com, although those are kind of turning me off. I enjoy sci-fi and drama and real-life recreations. I do really like those. I also love comedy. But here's the problem. The doctor says, you're not qualified. Okay. This is part of the problem of what happened when obstetrics started to take over childbirth. Is there was this idea that a trained, educated person knows more about childbirth than women do. And they were the only ones participating in birth at the time. So I struggle with that idea. I think I'm about ready to go check my blood pressure now. My ears are red. I'm a little hot because this stuff frustrates me. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Please take it as entertainment, but also take it as some education. I think it's important for us to, all of us in America, to learn about childbirth. Number one, because we are all born. So far in history, when I'm documenting this, no one has been hatched. Everyone has come out of a human body in some form. So, being mammals, this is our experience. And we know people who will give birth or want to give birth or have given birth. So everybody should know about it. On top of the fact that what happens in childbirth and the things that happen during pregnancy have an impact on a human being's life for the rest of their life and potentially their descendants, if they have genetic descendants. So, coming up next is going to be a history of obstetric practices. Again, this is going to be somewhat of just a survey, kind of a brief history. I'd like to showcase the many things that have been tried on pregnant and birthing people that were really bad ideas, because research on pregnant women is not good. And I don't mean that it's not good to do, because quite obviously we should be doing it, because current circumstances is an example. The COVID vaccines not being studied for pregnant people until way into the game, when pregnancy is such a small window, maybe that should have been more of a priority. Research for pregnant people just has not been effective. In some cases, has not even been attempted before introducing some kind of medication or practice or procedure or tool. Very infuriating. Let's experiment on you without any data to back it up. That video is coming up soon, and I definitely want to say, please, please be kind to all of your fellow human beings, no matter their diversity.